Hi everyone, welcome to Soul Therapy. Today my guest is Annie Isaacson-Palmer. Annie is a near-death experiencer who's come by to share with us her experience. Welcome, Annie.
Hi, thank you.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'd like to get into introducing Annie and give you a little bit of her background. Annie graduated from Sherman College of Chiropractic in 1983. She practiced chiropractic in Washington State and is now retired. Annie loves collecting crystals, visiting the mountains, ocean, and spending time in nature. She's active within the UFO community and is currently writing a book about her 1981 near-death experience. The book gives examples of dramas, overcoming trigger thoughts by applying Nirvana's light clearing method. If you'd like to contact Annie, you can reach her on Facebook at Annie Isaacson-Palmer at facebook.com. And if you'd like to email her, you can do so, but please in the subject line put interested in NDE or NDE interest. Her email address is NWAnnie at comcast.net. So let's get right into it. Can you tell us about what your childhood was like, what your family life was like, and what your spirituality was like prior to your near-death experience?
I grew up in Olympia, Washington. My dad was a carpenter for the Natural Resources, and my mom wound up working at the state library until both of them retired. There wasn't anything real special about my childhood, with the exception of I was into UFOs. I saw UFOs in the late 70s, and growing up, my mom never really impressed any kind of a structured religion on me. She left that be open to me and what my guidance was going to guide me to. I did go to Methodist and Baptist, but that just wasn't for me. I didn't see any life in it. I didn't go there that much. I was always looking for something my whole life up until the late 70s. I had gone to Unity Church, and I liked that, but that was still not enough. I also went to the Institute of Insight, where they spoke about progressive spirituality, focused on channeling messages from archangels Gabriel and quite a few other angels, and they brought through a lot of resources, which was kind of woo-woo for people who were in the neighborhood that said, "Oh no, there's the devil's there," or whatever.
Yeah.
And then from there, I had a substantial job, which was kind of fun. It was the best job ever. I worked at Egan's, had the best burgers in town, and Jim, the owner of the restaurant, would be in the back reading the Seth material, the Seth book, and we would be talking about that and substantial changes with what is coming through the Seth books. It was right up my alley. And then I wound up living in New York City for a year, and then Kansas City for 3 years. And when I was in Kansas City, I decided to be a chiropractor. So 1977, I was working for Dr. Barbara Noel. She's a really neat lady. She's my first chiropractor I worked for, and she was the reason why I decided to be a chiropractor. About 1977, she said, "Annie, there's an intuitive I want to go to. I have a job opportunity. I want to see what's right for me and what's not. And so you want to come?" I said, "Yeah."
Yeah.
So I did. And I wanted to find out who my husband would be. And she told me, and she gave me a number of scenarios about told me who he is right off the bat, which I was really excited.
Wow.
And she said, "Don't get with him right away because there's a lot of things you need to do first." And so I said, okay. So I didn't tell him. And anyway, then she said the real reason for me to come there was to tell me about this car accident that was going to happen.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
and she didn't tell me the year or anything, but she told me the quarter that it would happen would be a significant number that will carry out through my life, and to be kind of particularly appointed or particularly interested in that quarter. And I thought, okay, sounds good. And then she told me, by the way,
What the number was?
yeah, the number was 4. That was significant for me to remember as like a connecting the dots.
Right.
That was the dots that I needed to collect later on in my life. So I thought, okay, that sounds good. And then she said, by the way, don't ride your motorcycle because the car accident will be significant and I won't be able to get my body in shape to come back to do the material that I need to do. But she told me the reason I've needed to go there is because I am looking for something that is really deep, a lot deeper than you have found on earth. You need to you need to get out of your environment, go to a specialized energy frequency that will help facilitate what you're actually looking for.
What did you think that meant when she said that?
I didn't have any clue. No clue whatsoever. But I thought, oh, that sounds so good.
I know. Yeah. Where is that? Is that in California? No.
Yeah, really. There wasn't anything for me to refer to, no
Right.
reference at that point, so I didn't know. So the intuitive was pretty spot on. A lot of the things she also told me about too was right around the time of my accident, I will get these messages in the area, so to speak, leaning more towards not riding my motorcycle and stuff. And I couldn't believe that I would get a motorcycle, but I sure enough did, because it's
Okay.
cheap on gas, cheap on insurance. I had 3 other friends. One of them wound up to be my boyfriend,
Mhm.
and that all rode motorcycles. So yeah, they were comfortable with it, no problem. So I did. I got one, and gosh, I was so scared on that. You know how the motorcycles were when they go around the corner, they're kind of leaning and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Not me. Not me. I was too scared to do that.
You're like,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. So anyway, around the time, 1981, it was at the end of 4th quarter, and I tried to tell my boyfriend at the time, I need to use his car instead of my motorcycle. And I told him why, and he wasn't believing me. So the very next day, I kept insisting. I was so frantic, telling him I needed to ride in his car. He had just bought it. And in the meantime, the intuitive also told me that there will be angels around my house. Archangel Michael was the one who picked me up when I had the accident, and I know his influence was there as well, plus my frantic influence, plus the whole thing. He wound up leaving the keys to the car on the table. I didn't say anything, and that was when I had the accident. I picked up my keys, and I had a beautiful, beautiful Afghan hound. She was a blue, which is a great color, and oh, I just loved her. Her name was Chelsea. So I said goodbye to Chelsea, and she kind of looked worried. She had that worried look on her face. She knew something was up. So I left, and I went over to a friend of mine's house who was going to help me study for the anatomy final that day. But anyway, I'm going down the road, and I'm thinking a whole bunch of stuff. I'm frantic about my finals because I don't think I'm going to pass. So I'm going down the road, and coming up to Sherman is on my right-hand side, and I see this car. It's a corner, and I see this car weaving in and out of my lane, and my lane and her lane, which is kind of common in South Carolina and Spartanburg. So I'm thinking, oh shoot, get on track, wake up, wake up. I keep thinking she's going to be changing, but she keeps weaving closer and closer and closer. And when we get close enough, I see she's slumped over her steering wheel.
oh my
So I'm
God.
thinking, there's something wrong with her. And then her car, big car, crashed into my smaller car, pins me in between the driver's door and the transmission. So I'm pinned in. And the next thing I remember is I'm rising above the accident. And the first thing I say is, my God, I can't die yet. I just have to finish my finals.
So you have the sensation of lifting up, right?
Right.
And you don't have eyes, but you can see.
Right.
And what are you seeing at this moment?
Well, at this moment, I don't recall if I went back down to my body, but I do remember just rising above the accident. And I'm in a different body, not different, but it's a different frequency body. We've heard of astral travel.
Yeah.
People can leave their bodies and go on to, it's just at a different density.
Right.
This is the 3D density, but this is a different density because we are more than just our physical bodies.
Right.
We're conduits. Our electrical system, which runs on a nervous system, is different. It's like a ghost.
Yeah.
And there are people that do see people who are out of body, and that's the body that they use. They're not in the physical
body.
The body. Yeah. Pardon me?
An energy body.
Yeah, exactly. And but anyway, so I'm rising above the accident.
Are you seeing the trees? Are you seeing like everything around you?
Yes, I see the school, I see the car, I see, in fact, I do remember there was a student who was outside the college. It's finals week. He was outside either having a cigarette or whatever. He sees the accident and he's running towards the accident. It happened right in front of this house where this lady, her husband was a chiropractor. His name was Sherman. That's what the chiropractic college was named after, was Lyle Sherman.
Oh.
I still lived in that house, but she's deceased now.
Mm-hmm.
But she ran out and ran down to the car, and I could see like you would in the physical. I saw the grounds, I saw the area, I saw the houses, I saw the car, but the love I felt from Archangel Michael when he came up to me, he said, Anne-Lee, you have a school you need to go to first. You'll come back and finish your information here. His love was so profound, there was no fear. Love just generated, I mean, wave after wave after wave of absolute love. And we're talking unconditional love. That means no strings attached. He didn't have any information that we do here on earth, nothing plastered, nothing. I mean, he was pure love, pure light. And so after that, he wrapped his arms around me, which happens. And the love I felt was just, instant. There it is, just instant. And I said, oh man, is this what heaven's like? He said, yes. And I was so thrilled. And then for once, being in the arms of somebody who totally loved you without a doubt is by far the most profound thing in this experience that I had at that point. And he told me that it was going to be transferring me over to somebody else. I said, no, I don't want to go to anybody else. Fuck you.
You're the man I've been looking for my whole life.
I'm going to be dumped already. But he said, no worries. You will have this next experience, a benevolent experience. You'll love this. So then I got involved with my twin flames arms, and I was the love was not love like this in physical. It was interchanging love. We're just, all the molecules and all the protons and everything was just interchanging love particles, interchanging love particles. It was so complete. I felt at once, I am complete.
Are you in a different place now?
Oh yeah. We're way off Earth.
So how did that transaction happen? How did you get from the scene to, was it instant, or was there an actual transport?
It was, it's not like a transfer from here to there. It was just one change of your mind. And that was all I felt, was that I'm just a thought. It was what I'm thinking. I'm just a thought. Archangel Michael picked me up, and he said, no, this is not a date.
That's right. You're like,
He's being picked up. Oh no, I said, no, it's not a date. He transferred me into my twin flames arms, who then told me about my importance of going to the university in Nirvana, because I will be bringing back information. And so we reached the steps to the school, and I almost felt like I got kind of shoved out because I didn't want to leave his arms either. So here I am standing on the doorsteps to this university, and I thought, okay, there must be some reason for me being here. And I walked in, and the door was huge. It must have been 15 feet tall. It looked like it was like weighed 500,000 pounds. Effortlessly, you could open it up almost with your thoughts. So I walked in.
Material, like dense material?
Yeah, somewhat. It was like this is really hard to describe because this is in a different frequency also. But it was material. It was not as hard as we have it here, but it was a structure. And I think in one of Susie's books, when Matthew was talking with Susie about how they create their houses, they have two entities get together and they mentally create a house that one wants in Nirvana. So I walked in, and there were beautiful 4 pillars, lapis, this color.
Oh, the blue one. Oh, I love that stuff.
I love it too. And there were 4 pillars, 2 on either side, goes into a foyer. And I walk in, and this beautiful lady comes up, and she said, what class would you like to take? And I don't know. You tell me. Just as a beautiful, loving lady. She was really glad that I was there. And everybody was happy to be there learning things. And she suggested this one class, and I went to the class for about 2 seconds. A nanosecond later, I said, no, that's not it. And I walk out, and I see her talking with another lady, and the other lady knew who I was and that I was there for a short time. I'm not a resident, and that I needed to go to a different class.
Just passing through.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point. That's a good
Passing through
point.
it.
Did you know that you were just passing through? Did you know you were going home? Not home,
Well,
that you're going back to Earth?
yeah, I knew that when Archangel Michael picked me up. He said, don't worry, you will come back and continue your education here. But that wasn't really, didn't really think of too much stuff. I just went along with the program. I didn't pick my own curriculum. So I walk in, and she's talking with a beautiful lady who winds up being Mother Mary. And Mother Mary was talking with her, who directed me over to this one class. Of course, she knew what I needed to do. And she said, this brief introduction, this is a class on healing. I said, oh, perfect. I'm in chiropractic college. I'm going to go back to Earth. I'm going to heal people. This is perfect. So I walk into the classroom, and there was a few other people. They were sitting in like a usual desks like people do here. And I recognized.
Hard to understand for me.
I know. Well, they give you in different, I see. So for your ability to recognize where you're at, they give you like holographic images of what would be perfect for your classroom or wherever you're going.
Right, I get it.
I walk in, and Archangel Raziel is talking about geometric shapes and quantum physics. And I sit down in the chair. I see there is about, I don't know, just a couple other people. I see one person taking notes, and everybody else is just absorbing the information. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about what the energy is like in the university. Yes. You walk in, and you feel 100% support. Everybody is loved. Everybody is supported. And everybody is welcome, no matter what your past is. And I wanted to make that so super clear, because there's a lot of people who think, why me? Which I did. Who am I to go to this class? Who am I to be in here? I'm sitting in a class, and I'm watching him. Beautiful man, too. And the things that they wore, it was light frequency, magnetic light frequency robes that were brilliant. They had a life. Everything had a life. The walls had a life, and that life is 100% love, 100% welcome, and so exciting. So anyway, he was talking about geometric shapes in physics, and one of them had to do with the geometric shapes where you can take like crystals, and I wanted to show you my crystal.
Is that Nancy?
This is Nancy. Yep.
Oh, Nancy, I love her.
She's beautiful.
Yes, she is.
There's some people who can't hold her for that long because she's so powerful. But anyway, he's talking about holding, the geometric shapes, and there's also other geometric shapes that have been around too that people use, and how those help facilitate your healing. And while I'm listening, I'm thinking, okay, why don't we just go right to source? Immediately when I thought that, Mother Mary walks in, and she asked me how I think about the class. I said, oh, this is really cool, but why not just get right to source? That'd be a lot quicker.
How did you know that?
I just knew it. I can't tell you why, or can't tell you how, but I just thought, makes more sense to me, just go right to source. One of the things that you learn in that university is absorbing the information instantaneously, like downloading, where you're open, there's no resistance. That is not there. So your ability to express your fullest, not just 100%, because that too has a limit, but express your fullest awareness of love, meaning love in, out, everywhere you feel support. There's no question whatsoever. There is nothing that is to be feared, because fear is not reality there. Absolute love. So that was the energy, the aura of the whole place, of the whole building. And you can look at the walls and see the walls being alive with love shining back at you. You feel the love coming up from the floors. You see everything. The energy is just so profound. So Mother Mary comes in, asks me what do I think about it. And I said, this is great stuff, but just go right to source. So she said, I'd like to talk with you. We leave the building or leave the room. And she asked me if I want to go back to Earth. And I said, you kidding me? No, I don't want to go back to Earth. But then she showed me what my kids, both my kids. She showed me first my daughter, and she said, "This is who you will be. You will share your life with your daughter."
Oh,
And oh, perfect. Let's do it. And my son too, but my daughter was the one that really stood out at that time. And then we walk out, and she said that I needed to sit in this chair because my physical body was dying from all the injuries.
oh.
So I went into a room there was nothing in the room, just a chair. And so I sat in the chair, and she said, by the way, it's a lot more than you expect. You'll really enjoy your experience. And so I sat in, and the only thing I can remember was being completely one with the universe.
Oh my God.
Everything was it was just beyond the feeling that I felt in the university. It was one with source. And I absorbed whatever I needed to absorb. And I don't remember how long it was. There's no time in there, no time in that space. The only time is available, the only place that is available for time is here on Earth.
What confuses me about time is that they say it's a third dimensional construct, right? What I want to know, if there's no such thing as time, how are events ordered? One
Okay.
comes before another and one comes
Oh,
after
oh.
another.
Well, that's an illusion itself. Everything is happening all at once. If you were to cognitively see that, you'd go crazy.
I can't even conceptualize it. In saying that there's no time means that there's no order of events when there's no time.
And there's no space. I could be experiencing things
I'm
from
just
my
blown right here.
yeah, I can be experiencing things from the many planets that I come from, not just one, but the many planets I come from. All at once, it's happening right now.
When you were in the chair, were you aware of who you are from that level? Not who Annie is, who all the people that Annie are incarnated as or have ever.
No, it was just soul me. I still have connection with me, Annie, and I don't know yet. I'm not aware of everything happening all at once.
Mhm.
That came later.
And do you have an awareness of Ann Lee on Earth? There's the awareness of your awareness that's participating in these events in heaven or Nirvana, right? But there's also the body that is on Earth in disarray. Are you
Yeah.
connected? Are you aware of that connection?
Actually, no, I'm not aware of that. I'm just thinking like I am now talking with you
Mhm.
or just on Earth talking with anybody. This is Annie. I was
Oh, you
just
are there. Okay.
yeah, I was just totally separated from my body. My body was out of it. When I was in the chair, my body was dying.
Mhm.
I had fractured my left hip, the three bones in my left hip, the femur head, which is your top, your bone in your leg, that crashed against the joint, which is called the acetabulum. That
Mhm.
joint was fractured. All the bones that held that in place were fractured. They had to give me 8 pints of blood altogether, AB negative blood by chance. And my left ribs, about 7 of them were fractured.
Wow.
And I was filling up with blood. I
Oh,
was drowning in blood in my lungs.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, it wasn't good. I had to be in traction for 6 weeks. When they put the pin in my left leg and pulled it off the acetabulum, all of my fractures held in one place. So I didn't have to have a plate. It held its structure in one place.
Because of the healing chair.
Yes, I attribute everything to the healing chair. I
Right.
had a massive bruise on my leg, must have been about this big at least. Because that was where it was, where all the blood was leaving.
Mm.
And so we don't have 8 pints of blood altogether. They had to keep piping blood into me to substantiate me still being here. So
Yeah.
anyway, that was happening, and I was going through, well, I don't know what I was going through because I was out of it. Being in a coma,
Right, so you were in a coma, but so your awareness was completely on the other side.
body, right. I
Yeah.
was totally, I was out of my physical body inside my etheric body, if you want to call
Right.
it that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I sat in the chair, became one with source, with the universe, with everything that is so powerful. It was healing my body. And then I remember Mary coming back in the room and she asked me, it was kind of like telepathically. I knew where to go just because I intuitively knew. So I followed her down into the school, and we passed this one room, which is really bizarre energy. For all of the other rooms, all the other frequencies in the Nirvana University, this was really strange. And I asked her about it, and we walk in, and she got permission from this individual who we looked at her Akashic records. It's the room where all the Akashic records from all the souls, but the majority of souls I believed on Earth. We got permission from the lady who owned the file, and we pulled out the file that was reminded me of what the card catalog would look like from the 50s and 60s.
Like in a library?
So, yeah, in a library, right. So here we are in the Akashic Records room, the
Okay.
library of everybody, of all the souls, progressions, where they need to go. We pull out the file, and there's a lot of holographic images that are inside the file,
That is
which
so cool.
represents our past lives. And
Oh,
she decided to hang out in Nirvana for a while because she was burnt out. She needed to rest. But we were looking in, and we got permission, but we were looking inside her file to see what her past life was. And it wasn't anything significant. You know, it was just somebody being there. And I didn't get too detailed, but she said that we have tools that will help people clear their Akashic records. And then we went down the hall to another room. We narrowed in on this one guy sitting in the area, and he was clearing off his karma he had with this other individual. Lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, they kept re-engaging their past life together, their karma together. One would kill one life, the other would kill the other life. They could not break their pattern. And he finally broke his pattern. The individual who he had the karma with was already broke his pattern. He was off in the distance. And when he broke his pattern, he was so excited, just as everybody else was. He wanted to experience what everybody else was experiencing in the joy and the happiness. So he stands up, he walks over to the guy, and they shake hands. And at that moment, it just dissipated like a fireworks. Just the brilliance of the light was just exploding everywhere between their exchange of loving one another, because they both realized that they were doing this to help each other break their mold, and they did at that moment.
are you saying that what you're watching here with these people is holographic?
Not necessarily. It's just kind of like monitors, like we're watching each other right now, and what you watch on TV. It
Okay.
wasn't really holographic. Like the Akashic, the file that I pulled out, they stood up, and it was 3D holographic things. This was more like linear, flat. And I
Okay.
didn't
So,
really get the sense of 3D in that moment.
okay. So you're watching these people on a monitor. Are you watching them in their 3D life? Or,
Yes.
and now, are you seeing them from over a lifetime, or are you seeing them in one specific incident?
This is one specific incident where they gathered together in the field,
Hmm.
and they all broke their pattern. Everybody was really excited, sharing the love, sharing the excitement, and just being in a bliss, essentially bliss. They knew they were taken care of. There was no need to worry about finances, no need to worry about jobs like we have now, but we have that potential to
We
be
do. Yeah.
there. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, another thing, this happened in 1981, my
Mm.
experience.
Mhm.
A lot has changed from how we were to be able to access this information. In the meantime, there was like 9/11.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what 9/11 is.
Mhm.
And speaking of that, when I say 9/11, everybody knows what happened.
Right.
Everybody.
Right.
We don't really know the behind the scenes really that's coming out, but all the stuff that happened represents what the downloaded information that I got in Nirvana represents in the physical. You got the package, you know exactly what happened. You know the fears, you know all the emotions and the physical stuff that happened all at once, everything. is in this package or download of 9/11. That's all I have to say.
What you're painting is a group of people that are experiencing the kind of freedom that comes from healing that I don't see many people participating in at this time.
One of the problems people have is survival.
Yeah. Well, they're playing on that right now a lot. Yeah.
Their survival is critical. And from my understanding, we should have gotten the financials straightened out in 9/11 or 9/12. And I don't want to get into those details because people can look up on their own if they want to go there. I just don't want to go there because it's heavy. That didn't happen, which it should have, to help people not have the stress with finances. And then now there's COVID prices. But the more light we have, the more we express towards our community, the less density, the less lower frequencies, because it can't handle the light. So getting back to Nirvana, we're looking over the people in the field, and then I walk away and I see how that happens. My favorite class was neurophysiology. And that was what Mary told me, that neurophysiology came in. I was so excited. And she said, neurophysiology, we pay real good attention, which explains how we think. So how we think, how we communicate. And I latched on to when our neurons are at rest, the inside of the axon, which is the fiber that gives information out to the target, it's negative charged on the inside and positive on the outside. When there's a synapse or when there's a stimulus for that axon to fire, that flips all the way down to the end plate. And at that point, there'll be electrical charge or a neurotransmitter that will go across to the other cell. And speaking of intelligence, there's a number of neurotransmitters that line up at that joint. Why does this one go across? You know, how does that know to go across? One neurotransmitter goes across to make the connection. Brilliant.
It's like they have their, yeah, that's so funny because I'm always thinking about, you know, how everything is a fractal of the all that is.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, you have your universe and then you have your galaxy and then you have your planets, and then on your planets you have your plants and people, and inside the people you have the cells, and inside the cells it just keeps going into infinity. You know, what you're saying is reminding me of that.
Oh, exactly. And there's a leaf in University of Florida, and they go microscopically from the quarks, particles, and they go out to the universe. It's kind of like, oh, what type of problem do I have that is so substantial that it really overwhelms me? When you get that perspective, that was exciting to learn. One of my classes when I return is referencing what they're talking about in Nirvana. And what I saw was, and this is kind of hard to formulate in words, but I just saw light repelling out the problem. And that also goes back to our earlier conversation about what am I thinking about all the time. I have control over what is influencing my thinking. And when I don't think properly, or I'm thinking about a fear or about a concern or about whatever, a worry, that is not the frequency that I want to get into, because in the fourth density that we're moving into doesn't acknowledge that. It's foreign to that type of communication or thought or life. So I push it out of the way. I said, okay, I'm bigger than this. I don't want to have anything to do with this person anymore who's been controlling me, manipulating my energy for a long time. And that was kind of what I saw, was being able to stay centered in the light and allow the light to project out. Now, allowing the light to do the work is significant because I trust the light. I am learning, I am experiencing, trusting the light above anything else that I placed my emphasis in on before that was secure for me.
Right.
Like the finances, like the job, like, you know, all the stuff that the 3D represents. My focus now is being absorbed in light only. And sure, there'll be distractions, but it depends on the distractions. Like, I need to fix dinner. That's a pretty good distraction. Or you need to do something with your daughter or whatever. I'll be able to come back and return easier through experiencing I do have the power to do this. And you start little at a time. Like I have the power to say no to watching TV. It can be hard. And when I go on Facebook, can I say no to all the nice videos that are there? That this distraction just gets you out of your focus. So basically, it's realigning what's really, really important. And for me, it is really important at this time. I feel so strong. I need to get the book out. I need to get the information out. And for people who gravitate towards that, perfect. And if they don't gravitate towards that, perfect. I can't dictate to what everybody else is going to do. That's up to them. That's their free will. And that is their purpose to explore themselves. When I am focused in on what I am thinking and not what somebody else is projecting to me, there's a huge difference. And when we recognize what's true, what is true for myself, my narrative, my true self narrative, I know then that I'm on the right track.
Annie, it was such a pleasure speaking with you. I always love speaking to you. There's just so much information in everything that you have to say. Annie is an amazing writer, everyone. I really encourage you to, whenever it's available, pick up her book. If you do want to know more about it and keep in touch with her about it, I guess the best place to keep in touch with Annie is through Facebook, and I'll put the link in the description below for that. Annie also has mentioned about Matthew books, which is something that she would like to share with everyone. And I'll put the link in the description for that as well. Is there anything you want to say before we end our conversation, Annie?
Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you. As always, we just totally connect. I'm really excited to have met you and that you offered this to me. I want to say real quick, I'm thinking about doing a website, and when that comes available, if you're not on Facebook, please do the podcast.net link, and in the subject, just put NDE interest or that you saw me here or whatever, and that way I know that you're not a spam. But anyway, thank you so much for the time we spent, and I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to our many in the future conversations. I'm sure we'll have some.
Yes, Annie and I are already planning to have another conversation where we're going to get more in depth about both her experience in Nirvana and the lessons that she learned that she can share with you. And we'll also be talking more about her book in our next interview. So hopefully we'll be doing that within the next couple of months. So with that, I love you, Annie. I can't wait to talk to you again, and I will see you soon.
Great. Thank you. I love you too. And everybody out there, blessings to everybody, and the light will shine on you. It is shining now, and your awareness will be opening. Thank you so much.
Okay, and everybody, as usual, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments below, or you can email them to me at Kristen at soultherapytct.com, or you can visit my website at www.soultherapytct.com.